What's the best joke you know? I mixed up the words jacuzzi and yakuza and now I'm in hot water with the Japanese mafia. How is 69 and being in the mafia alike? One slip of the tongue and you are in deep crap. A man goes to a funeral. He asks the widow if he could say a word. He goes to the front and says plethora and sits back down. The widow leans over and whispers thanks, that means a lot. Edit. Thank you everyone. I gladly will add on your lines when I retell this joke. You have all made my day brighter. Another man approaches. He had been a close companion of the deceased. He too asks the widow if he might speak, and heads to the front. Bargain, he says. The widow pats his arm. That means a great deal. Thank you. I would have you know that you got both me and my dad laughing. I will gladly add this on when I tell this joke. My personal favorite one, a man comes up and asks to say a few words, and the widow gives him the okay. He steps up to the mic and says with confidence, water pit. The widow gives a small smile. Thanks, I know you mean well. Two guys are walking down the street when they see a dog licking his balls. One guy says, I wish I could do that. The other replies, well, maybe just try petting him first. Dad, the trash man's here, tell him we don't need any. A man sat down at a bar and told the bartender, I bet you $300 that I can piss into the cup all the way over there on the other side of the bar and not miss a single drop. The bartender said, there is no way you can do that. Sure, I'll bet you $300. The man then begins to undo his pants and begins pissing. He starts pissing all over the bar, spraying on the bottles and the bartender, not making a single drop in the cup. The bartender starts smiling and laughing and says, that's it, you owe me $300. The man then gets up and walks over to the pool table and starts laughing and shaking hands with the men standing there. He walks back to bar, sits down and starts laughing at the bartender and hands him the money. The bartender asks, why are you laughing? You just lost the bet. The man said, I'm laughing because I bet those guys over there $1,000 that I could piss all over you in your bar and you would still be laughing when I was done. I've heard this one but with a lawyer and IRS inspector. What did the sign on the door of the brothel say? Beat it, we're closed. A penguin is on a long-deserved vacation from the zoo. He decides to take a road trip out west, where his car breaks down. Luckily, it's right in front of a mechanic in town. He drops the car off and tells the mechanic he's going to get some lunch. It's a really hot day, so after eating he stops by the ice cream shop for a little treat. Walking back to his car, the mechanic tells the penguin it looks like you blew a seal. The penguin laughs. Oh, no, he said, as he wiped his mouth, it's just ice cream. Mechanic, come again? Penguin, I told you, it's only ice cream. I had a song stuck in my head the other day and kept singing it out loud. My wife finally broke down and screamed, will you please stop singing Wonderwall? I said maybe. I hear you, dude. I was humming the chorus to I'm a Believer around the house the other day when my wife suddenly screamed at me to knock it off. This was really out character for her, so I just assumed she was joking. Then I saw her face. Edit, if you're spending money on these awards, please give it to a cancer charity instead. Thanks. A lizard is walking through the jungle and spots a monkey up in a tree smoking a joint. Hey monkey, what are doing? He says. The monkey says, I'm up here getting high as F man. Come on up. The lizard goes up in the tree and they smoke a few joints and the lizard says, man, I'm thirsty as hell, I'm going to head down to the river and get a drink of water. The monkey says, alright man, be careful. The lizard makes it down to the riverbank and goes to get himself a drink and falls into the river and starts to drown. Meanwhile there is a croc on the other bank, sees the lizard in trouble and jumps in and saves his life. The croc says, what the hell lizard, what happened? The lizard tells him about the monkey and the joints they were smoking and the croc says, I'm going to go find this monkey and tell him off for this. After he says that he takes off, and as the croc is walking through the jungle calling out to the monkey and the monkey hears him, looks down from the tree and says, holy crap man, how much water did you effing drink? What's the difference between a slob on a bicycle and a well-dressed individual on a unicycle? Attire. Doc, you got to help me. I can't stop singing What's New Pussycat. Ah. That sounds like Tom Jones syndrome. Is it common? It's not unusual. Are you new in town by any chance? I am homeless, I'm gay, I have AIDS, and I'm new in town. No, I'm going to push him. I'm going to push him, and start off by saying I have AIDS. Wait, that's too strong. Hold back, hold back. Build to that. What are 3 other things about him? I went to the zoo and saw a baguette in a cage. I asked the zookeeper about it, and he told me it was bred in captivity. One day 3 people were stuck on an island with cannibals. The cannibals said, "If you do what we say, we won't kill you." So the 3 people followed the orders the cannibals. So the cannibals said, "Go into the forest and pick 10 fruits of the first fruit you see." So the first person came back out of the forest with 10 apples. The cannibals said, "Put the apples up your ass," without making a facial expression. The person then made a facial expression after the second apple, so the cannibals killed him. The second person came back out of the forest with 10 cherries. The cannibals said, "Put the cherries up your ass," without making a facial expression. The person then started laughing on the 10th cherry, so they killed him. In heaven, the person with apples asked the person with cherries, "Why did you start laughing?" The person replied, "I saw the third person come out with pineapples." This reminded me of this one. What's the definition of trust? 2 cannibals giving each other blowjobs. People are shocked when they find out what a terrible electrician I am. A proctologist walks into a bank. He needs to sign a document. He tries to sign, but he pulls a thermometer out of his shirt pocket. Oh crap, some butthole has my pen. The divorce court judge says to Mickey, "Now let me get this straight, Mr. Mouse. You want a divorce from your wife Minnie because she's crazy?" And Mickey says, "No, I never said she was crazy, I said she was effing goofy." If you can do a good Mickey impression, it really sells this one. 3 men went to hell, and they stood before the devil. The devil asked the first man, "What did you do for a living?" The man answered, "I was a lumberjack." The devil said, "Then we will chop your penis off." He turned to the second man, asking the same question he asked the first. "I was a fireman," said the second man. "Then we will burn your penis off," said the devil. He turned to the third man, asking the same question he asked the other 2. The third man thought about it, and finally answered the devil, "I was a lollipop salesman." Schmomp. No, Mr. Owl. The world may never know. Crunch. Pours molten sugar over his penis. Shoves a stick in it. A boss had 2 employees, Alice and Jack. He only needed one. But they were hired at the same time and were both equally good at their job. He couldn't decide which to get rid of. He was sitting at a bar thinking about the situation. Alice walks in and sits beside him and asks, "You seem down, what's wrong?" The boss said, "I need to either lay you or jack off." Alice says, "Well, please jack off, I'm tired." Reminds me of the guy who got a job at the pickle factory. He came home from his first day and his wife asked him how it was. He said it was great, but he couldn't stop watching the pickle slicer. He knew it was wrong, but he couldn't stop thinking about putting his penis in the pickle slicer. His wife thought that was a little bit weird. Time went on, but the woman's husband only became more withdrawn. He was obsessed. Finally, she just confronted him. "Look, I can tell this thinking is eating you alive. Ignoring it isn't working. You just have to get this out of your system." Her husband croaked out, "Really? Really?" She exclaimed. "I want you to stay late after work, after everyone has left. Make some kind of excuse. Then when there's nobody else around, just go ahead and put your penis in the pickle slicer. Then you'll finally be able to move on." He silently nodded his head and left for work. All day she was thinking about her husband and the difficult time he must be having. Finally, he arrived home, a little later than usual. He slammed his lunchbox down on the kitchen table. "Well, I finally did it. I put my penis in the pickle slicer." "Really?" asked his wife. "Yes, I was thinking about it all day. Then, like you said, I stayed after quitting time and people had left. But my boss came back into the factory and caught me with my penis in the pickle slicer." "Oh no," she exclaimed. "I got fired," he responded mildly. "I can see he would be upset, but that seems a little severe." "What happened to the pickle slicer?" asked his wife. "Ah, she got fired too." This joke should be in the main thread. "Ah. Well, I'm fired." Jack was inevitably hired. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball? Makes gagging sound. I told this to my family when I was like 11. Went over well. The only thing so far that's made me laugh out loud is the mental image of someone telling their family that joke at the age of 11. I told my mom I wanted a piece of poontang pie because I heard someone say it while watching the WWF, now WWE. That was a weird time. The World Wildlife Foundation really used to be a different organization altogether, huh? I once smelled something bad and told my mom to close her legs. The war was over. I'd heard it at school and didn't understand it. I remember the ensuing yelling and my stepdad saying if I had said something like that when I was your age, I would have gotten clobbered. My mom asked him who would have hit him, his mom or his dad. He said I wouldn't have known. Then they both laughed and laughed about that line. I was smart enough to not laugh, but I think it was funny to this day. That wasn't just someone. You heard that from the Rock Lowell. Did you understand it when you told it? What happened? I think I was in that in-between phase of understanding it in theory, but not understanding how wildly inappropriate it was to tell over family dinner. When my boys were that age, their favorite joke was condominium. Bah ha ha, I said condom. Ours was happiness, ha, penis. You just gave me a horrible flashback. I told the following joke to my dad as a sweet about 11-year-old girl. It was originally longer, but this is all I can remember. You get the picture anyway. What is hairy on the other end and smooth on the other? It comes in different lengths and sizes. It can be used by both men and women, both morning and night. When used, it spreads white stuff. Rhythmic movement is key. It's a toothbrush. In the 80s, there was an ad campaign for Wendy's with the slogan, "Where's the beef?" It was a sensation. Absolutely ubiquitous. Everybody was saying it. I remember sharing a joke I had learned at school. I must have been 6 or 7. When somebody said, "Where's the beef?" you replied, "Between your teeth." Clearly, it means different things to a 7-year-old and a 35-year-old. It was quite a while before I understood the angry reaction. Why does the Little Mermaid wear seashells? Because she's too big for seashells. Edit. Had no idea this was going to blow up. Thanks all of you for all the awards. What's the difference between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with breast implants? One is a crusty bus station and the other is a busty crustacean. What's the difference between a pickpocket and a peeping Tom? One is a watch snatcher and the other is a snatch watcher. Speaking of pickpockets, did you hear about the midget who had his pockets picked? How could anyone stoop so low? Guy walks into a bar and says to the bartender, "I'll show you something amazing for a beer." Bartender agrees. Guy pulls out a 10 inches pianist from his pocket and sets him on the bar. He starts playing beautifully. The bartender, wowed, demands, "Where the hell did you find that, little man?" Guy says, "I've got a tiny wizard in my other pocket. For another beer, you can make a wish." Bartender agrees and says, "Wizard, I'd like $100,000. Suddenly the bar fills with 100,000 ducks. Bartender, confused and angry, says, "What the hell, mate? I didn't want 100,000 ducks." Guy responds, "Oh, you think I wanted a 10 pianist? I like. Very nice. But he's got an ice machine and a cleaver. 100,000 ducks at 5.7 pounds per duck dressed equals 570,000 pounds of duck meat. Duck parts go for all sorts of prices. Foie gras is $12/pound for instance. But let's say whole duck wholesale prices at $2/pound. He could come out of this with $1,140,000. I don't think that duck meat harvested by a madman wielding a cleaver in a bar will meet USDA standards, so it'll probably sell for a lot less. Au contraire, it's now locally sourced, free-range, ethereal duck. It'll probably fetch a higher price if anything. Dude, I like your way of thinking. Let's get into business selling ducks. I have no money though. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One is very heavy, and the other is a little lighter. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.